Hello and welcome to Rugby League on Sportscast. And Rydale York have already scored one notable success before this Silk Cup Challenge Cup first round game, and that's getting the match played at all. It's been twice previously postponed and they've managed to get this game on today. They play Warrington, last year's beaten finalists. Now Warrington have had a tremendous start to the new year. They've lost just one game since Boxing Day. Rydale York are currently building a side to match this very impressive stadium. But will Warrington, last year's beaten finalists, progress to next week's second round game against Keighley? One man who I hope is going to supply some answers is Roy Lester, the assistant coach of Warrington Rugby League Club. But first of all, Roy, can I talk to you about the conditions here? Because despite clearing the pitch of snow, it is very muddy in the middle.
Well, that's right, Gary. I was a bit surprised when I came over the premises as to how much snow there is about. But they've done a commendable job in actually getting the pitch ready. We sent some covers over here early on last week, and they protected the ground somewhat. But just down in the middle here, I think we must have lost a couple of players in the last couple of weeks in that mud there. It's pretty bad.
How do you think that's going to affect your team?
Well, obviously, if we start playing it down the middle, then it's going to affect us. We've got the speed on the outsides, and there's no reason why we shouldn't use the outsides. We can play good football. We've got good outside backs, and so we should use them.
Roy, you're going to join me in the commentary position. It's Rydale York against Warrington in the first round of the Challenge Cup. Let's take a check now on the team. Well, the York side shows just one change from the team which beat Fulham here in York's last match. Fullback Paul Hutchinson damaged a shoulder in a training accident. He slipped on the ice, and Graham Sullivan reverts to fullback, with Stephen Price coming into the second row where he partners his brother Jeff. There is Stephen Price, who comes into the team. I'm sure he'll get a lot of inspiration playing alongside his elder brother. That's 11 again, isn't it? 12. And Warrington make one change to the side that lost to Bradford Northern on February the 2nd. That was Warrington's first defeat of the new year. Chris Rudd is replaced in the backs by Mark Forster, who comes in on the left wing. Tony Thornley moves to centre to allow for Forster's return. Kevin Ellis played just 13 minutes of yesterday's Great Britain versus France test match at Headingley in Leeds. He has now arrived on the international scene. Referee today in the red jersey is Colin Whitfield. No, sorry, take two. Referee in charge today is Robin Whitfield, making his second visit of his career to this Rydale York Stadium. He officiated in the match against Doncaster here last season. I'll take it on the kick-off, should I? I'll take it on the kick-off. It's not me. 1, 2. There's no slope here, is there? I mean, there's no advantage to be gained. It's fairly flat. Who's got the sun in their eyes? Where's the sun? It's round there. So nobody's got the sun in their eyes, have we? Keeps going, what's got it in their eyes? Yeah, they've got it in their eyes. I'm going in about 10 seconds. And it'll be Rydale York to get this Silk Cup Challenge Cup first round game underway. And their scrum half, Steve Dobson, kicks off deep into Warrington territory. It's picked up by the opposite number 7, Kenan Everlace, who gets his first touch. Des Drummond involved early on. And no doubt Warrington will soak up a few of these early tackles. Roy Lester, the assistant Warrington coach, sits alongside me. What do you think the early strategy will be?
Well, it's always a sorting out process, Gary, in the first 20 minutes, and whichever team takes control early doors, obviously is going to have the advantage later on. Territorial advantage is going to be crucial in this particular game, obviously because of the pitch. You don't want to be too long in your own half trying to get out of there, so the kicking game is going to be a big factor in the game.
First kick goes Warrington's way. It was for offside. But a knock on, surely the ball had gone forward. Robin Whitfield indicates that. And that's an early mistake by Des Drummond, the right winger for Warrington, who captains the side today in the continued absence of Mike Gregory, who's still missing from this lineup with knee ligament damage. Whitfield wants the scrum.
A little bit of nerves there from Desi.
Now here's a useful break. Warrington, of course, the beaten finalists at Wembley last April. They had a taste of Challenge Cup success, and I want to repeat that dose this season. Once again, another handling error. The ball has gone forward. We're going to have another scrum down.
I'm not unsure on that, Gary. It looked a bit like it went back to me. I know I'm biased, but I think it did go back to me. He lost control of the ball, but it did go back.
Well, you are biased, Roy.
I am, yes, that's right.
Now, Rydell York's first chance to attack Warrington, deep inside their own half of the field. Steve Dobson turns play. Nick Howe, the loose forward. Releases the second row forward. That's number 11, Stephen Price. Already touch for him. Hacked forward by Graham Sullivan. Desi, as cool as you like, just trots across, has a little chat with Dave Lyon. And it's Desi Drummond who feeds Lyon. And Warrington's third mistake of the game.
And again from Desi, 2 mistakes early on in the game. He shouldn't do them kind of things. He's experienced enough not to know that he's got to keep hold of that ball early doors.
I think you always find in these cup ties, don't you, that the underdogs, I hope I'm not doing Rydell York an injustice to call them underdogs, often start the match with high expectations, and an early try can often deflate a lot of their confidence.
That's correct, Gary, yes. Having been in the position myself, being over at Fulham and at Carlisle, I know what it's like in their dressing room. It's their Wembley at this particular time, and again, I don't mean any disrespect to themselves.
So Stuart Horton, the acting half-back. Nick Howe, inside that Warrington 22 before he's tackled. Looks like Gary Mercer doing the tackling job. Ligbury, rather Jeff Price. Last tackle. Acting half-back is Stuart Horton again. Now Rydell York will have to score an early try, chip through. And that was a mistake by David Lyon that presented that to half chance for Rydell York down at the corner. And now Warrington's big forwards are going to have some work to do to push forward up towards their own 22. Warrington in the primrose and blue, playing from right to left in the first half. And the prize for winners, a second round tie at Morecambe Lane against Keighley next week. Last tackle, got away. Looks like Neil Harmon who got that kick in. Sullivan picks up, turns and faces. Solid tackle though. Big Render, the man who's tackled. He's on his back at the moment. The acting half-back is A.D. Smith. Smith feeds Dobson. Dobson, Nick Howes into it here, just on the halfway line. And give Rydale York credit, they've started the match brightly.
Yes, they have. The guy Nick Albrad has come with a big reputation into the game, and he's obviously a very good player. He got the competition in New Zealand with the Great Britain team. He won the Man of the Series, so he comes with a big reputation. We've got to watch him.
Bessie Drummond. Yes, this guy has come with a reputation, hasn't he? Nick out. New Zealand test forward.
In fact, we've got quite an impressive back three in actual fact. So this Jeff Price is an excellent player, very strong in the tackle and can actually move a bit, you know.
Yeah, there he is. If he's such an outstanding player, again, with all due respect to Rydale York, why didn't he join the First Division side?
Well, I think he did great work there. All due respect to Rydale York. They went for him first and managed to keep him, you know. I know other people have been looking at him, but nobody actually made the move for him, and Rydale York did it. All credit to them.
And he really is the man who's been pushing them forward towards those promotion places. The decision goes Rydale York's way. I thought it looked for a moment as if the Warrington man just wasn't allowed to get up in the tackle. Kevin Ellis was the man involved, but he didn't seem to be allowed to get up to play the ball. The decision goes York's way, and Sullivan finds touch on the far side. I think a little bit baffled there.
It was strange because, of course, Kevin was underneath the play. The player was lying on top of him. He had to struggle to try and get up, but anyway, he's made that decision and that's it.
Solid challenge by Paul Cullen and Jeff Price. His brother, Stephen Price. 3 Warrington tacklers there to greet him though. Stuart Horton, the acting half-back. Brings in Nick Render. Render cuts inside. Libbury gets it off to Render again, number 6. Horton. Dobson now feeding play. Nick Howe, good reverse pass into Sullivan inside that 22. Sullivan again with the play of the ball. Ian Paver in possession. It's the last tackle. So what are Rydale York going to fashion here?
No, it's the bomb. David catches very some tackle. Yep.
Very, very good defensive work by David Lyon. Give me number 1.
It did take some taking that because it was obviously right underneath the post and 5 or 6 players bearing down on him. He did very well, David.
Great take there by David Lyon. Had such a disappointing Challenge Cup final against Wigan, but what a mainstay he's been in the Warrington team this season. Very, very heavy out there in the middle as Chris O'Sullivan chips ahead. It wasn't a particularly good kick by the Aussie. Sure, I'll agree with that assessment.
Fortunately, we got possession back, which gives us another 6 tackles, or does it?
Well, how Phil Sumner managed to get the ball away then is beyond belief. He was facing the wrong way, nobody seemed to be close to him, but he still managed to get his pass in as Sullivan now has possession and feeds Kevin Ellis. Ellis is tackled though by Jeff Price. Ball looks like it's gone forward. The referee sees whether there's an advantage. It goes York's way, but it's brought away by Steve Dobson. Now Nick Pinkney won't be favourite amongst the fans here because he had a little bit of an opening there, did the left winger for Rydale York.
It was an excellent pass as well, Gary. It was a perfect pass. It was a flat ball, and all the winger had to do was to catch it, and he ran onto it well enough, but obviously didn't catch the ball. He had a free run to the line.
You say all he had to do. The ball was probably covered in mud. It's not exactly warm afternoon. It's not easy, is it, when you're under pressure?
That's true. It's a lot easier saying that appearance. Yeah, correct.
I'm sure Roy fancies chances out there.
Not on the wing, I don't think.
So David Lyon with the ball in his hands as he kicks a touch on the far side. Good long raking kick by the Warrington fullback. Tap on the 22. Sumner. O'Sullivan, tackled by Nick out.
Excellent defence by York there. They did exactly correct from the umbrella. Doesn't stop the ball getting out.
Just out of your picture, away to the left-hand side, Mark Forster's already calling for this ball. The ball had to travel a long way to reach him, but it's chipped through by O'Sullivan to Forster, right in his hands, and then he knocks on. But it was interesting, that was obviously a pre-work move, and Forster, some 20 seconds before he received the ball there, called for it, and the ball was coming out to him, wasn't it?
That's right. I think in those particular situations, the referee will always go with the defending side on that, because it's a fine line between offside and onside, of course.
And striding away with the ball is David Lyon. Still managed to release it to Alan Bateman. Good play this by Warrington. They're beginning to throw the ball around, and on a heavy pitch here in York, it's not an easy thing to do. Mercer gets it wide. Thornley. Forster again. Dwayne Manley acting halfback. 12 is Billy McGinty, always plays with his socks around his ankles. Easy to spot. Ellis. Sullivan.
That's a good kick there.
Tremendous kick by Chris O'Sullivan, former Canberra Raiders star. What sort of effect would you say he's had on the side, Will?
Well, he's a settled influence, obviously a very experienced player, and to have played with a team like Canberra and to have been to 3 grand finals is obviously a bonus to ourselves. He's a steadying influence to the younger players and sets an example very well.
It's a standoff for Rydell York. Nick Render tackled inside his 22, mind you. Ian Paver, the man in possession. Acting half-back was Stuart Horton. Steve Dobson. He's had a good game so far, the young Rydell York half-back.
Well, just looking at that, Gary, he's a very elusive player. He can sidestep. He's got quite a good sidestep, and he's looking very good indeed.
He's talking with the Rydell York coach, Gary Stevens, just before the game, and he said that if his side lacked experience in any particular department, it was in the backs and at half-back positions. He's really had to blood a couple of youngsters a little bit too early, perhaps for their own good, but he says they're relishing the challenge and they're going it very fast. Of course, Rydell York currently 4th in the 2nd division, and have high hopes, even this season, of gaining promotion.
We've played a few 2nd division sides this year, Gary, and every one of them put an excellent performance, and it's great to see the 2nd division clubs getting better and better all the time. And of course the competition in the 2nd division now is excellent. With the Premiership at the end of it, it's got something to play for, you know.
Now, if Rydell York beat Warrington today and caused one of the big upsets of the season, you'll be saying that really by the end of the game.
Well, not really. I'll probably dive off the side here, I think, but you're right there.
We're higher above the pitch on a piece of scaffolding which is housing our commentary position in our cameras too. And should Royal Leicester choose to jump off the edge, you'll land in about 2 foot of snow. It's Rydell York in possession. They chip the ball ahead. And it's David Lyon, who mops up for his side before feeding Mark Forster. O'Sullivan, Gary Mercer, Great player to have in your side, Gary Mercer. Was equally effective at centre and in the pack as well.
That's right, and he's played tremendously well in the second row at the sort of into the new year here. He's been the mainstay in the pack as far as we're concerned. He's had man of the match quite a few times.
Can you ever see him going back to playing centre again?
Well, I think if we ever get short in the centre, obviously you've said it right there, Gary, he's a handy player to have about, but we are quite blessed in those particular positions at this particular time, so he's very effective in the second row, so we've left him there.
A little pass off to Dobson. This is good rugby by Rydale York. They like to throw the ball around. A.D. Smith in possession now. The acting halfback is Steve Dobson. Dobson, lovely little kick. I mean, that was only 6 inches.
Yes, well played.
One touch when it bounced.
Well placed kick. It obviously takes a lot of pressure off them. It takes them into in the Warrington half, and puts them. Even though it's our head and ball, at least they're in the right position territorial.
And fans beginning to get behind their side with chants of York. Somehow Rydale York doesn't trip off the tongue so easily, does it?
That's correct. Yeah.
Forster. Dwayne Mann. Billy McGinty. He'd run into a brick wall for you. He really would. Mercer, the man who's tackled. So we'll wait the first point of this Siltcat Challenge Cup. First round game. The man who left the ball behind was Alan Bateman. Knock on.
Probably been better if the ball had been missed on and gone to the next play, because they're playing a compressed defence at York, and they're very well into the field there, and if that ball had gone past Alan Bateman, I think it would have been free on the wing game.
When you say a compressed defence, you mean a flat defence?
Well, no. If you notice, the winger is probably a third way in the pitch there at that particular occasion, and it leaves it wide open on the outside. I think it's an Australian idea. Ross Strudwick, I think, brought it to England, and a few people have played it. It can be effective, but it can be quite frightening at times.
As you mentioned yourself, Roy, the tactic therefore would be to go around the outside, down the left and right, and expose those wing positions. As yet, Warrington have failed to do that, and it's still 0-0. Anyway, halfway through the first half, 22 minutes gone to be exact.
There's been some forced tackling from both sides. Again, credit to York. They've been as good as they've got.
There's Nick Render, off to his half-back partner, Steve Dobson. Another handling error, this time for Rydale York. Ball's bound to be very slippery with so much mud on the playing surface. Meanwhile, Chris O'Sullivan just out of your picture, getting a little bit of attention from the Warrington physiotherapist, Tony Rothwell. O'Sullivan seems okay and fit to continue. So Warrington put in. Ellis, O'Sullivan now. O'Sullivan again, needed 2 attempts to hang on to the ball. David Lyons, cheeky little run by him. Nobody in support there when it really mattered. Paul Cullen, the loose forward, another versatile player that Warrington have in their ranks. Usually plays at the centre. In 10 years with the club. I think the man under that ruck of players is Neil Harmon, who Warrington got forward. Indeed it is. He finds Dwayne Mann. O'Sullivan again.
This Paul Cullen filled a position that Mike Gregor left with that unfortunate injury, and has obviously done excellently well. He's played in all the games that we've won in the new year, and been a very, very good player in those particular games.
And Robin Whitfield didn't like that high tackle, and that's why Warrington have a penalty. And the first kickable chance of the game for David Lyon. looking for his 40th goal of the season, David Lyon.
They probably need the sun just to dry the ground out there.
So that gives you some idea of the distance that David Lyon, who now sets his sights on the Rydale York posts. Well, if this is going to be the first points of the game, it will take him quite a while in coming. So 0-0, penalty to Warrington. David Lyon to take it, the Warrington fullback. And still we await the first points of the game. I wonder how costly a miss that will prove by the end of the 80 minutes.
There seemed to be a little bit of wind there, Gary. It held it in the air, and of course it wasn't on target anyway, but it just about scraped over the try line.
We almost get a rugby ball up in our commentary position. And that will lift Rydale York. They did well to hold Warrington for the opening 20 minutes of this game, and we've got some 19 minutes to go to the half-time hooter. And they're playing with a lot of heart.
Good support from York players there. There were 2 or 3 players around the man.
Stuart Horton doing particularly well. Fed out by Mark Lewis now. It's switched to the far side. Ordered a break on here for Basalake. Chipped ahead. Lyon. Good take by him. Forced backwards a good few yards though by the strength of that tackle. This is turning into a very, very good cup tie. I feared, to be honest, before the start of the game that Warrington would run away with it in the opening 20 minutes and put perhaps 20 points on the board. But it just hasn't turned out that way, and that's full credit to the second division side, who are growing in confidence and will continue to do so as long as they hold Warrington. Remember, the beaten finalists in last year's competition. I'm not sure Roy Lester's getting that impressed. He's getting grave doubts about his side.
No, I don't think it's something that I thought might happen, Gary. Again, as I say, we've played a few first division teams this season, and they've held us in the first half. We've been fortunate to get a few tries later on. And it has happened with people like Woodless early on in the season, the second division side, so it happens to the best.
Steve Dobson in possession. He's having a tremendous game for Rydale York. Caught eventually by the tackle of Mark Forster. A.D. Smith, the acting half-back. Nick out. Smith again. Render. Almost knocked on there. Just caught the ball before it fell to the ground. Horton, the acting half-back. It's got a little run by Pinkney. Made progress down the left-hand side. There was just a chink of light in the Warrington defence, and he saw it and went for it. Here's the captain of Rydale York, who was Horton, who turns play out to this near side, and a good kick ahead, excellent kick ahead by Steve Dobson. He really is orchestrating this Rydale York team.
They've caught us a couple of times on that left wing over there. They seem to be throwing flat balls out, and our men are coming in too early and leaving the wing wide open. It looks as though we're using a compressed defence, but I don't think that's the case.
He's really had an impressive game, Steve Dobson, hasn't he?
Yes, he's controlled things. His kicking's been great. It's put him in good positions, and of course it does make a difference, Gary, when you've got a kicker on the field that can make ground like that. It's specifically on this type of pitch because it saves the forwards doing all the work. And the other part of us, when they have got down there, they've kept us in that half by good defence.
And that's a high tackle by Paul Cullen, who was on Jeff Price, the second row man for Rydell York. He looks a little bit groggy following that tackle. The referee allowed it to go on. Another excellent kick. And that really has proved to be a feature of Rydell York's game this afternoon.
Possibly the difference between Rydell York's kicking game is that they're finding touch, and Warrington's kicking game, they're just kicking it down the field and chasing it. They're getting the results from their kicks and we're not.
Mine goes back to an incident about 15 minutes ago when the Warrington physiotherapist, Tony Rothwell, came on and just spoke briefly with the Warrington standoff Chris O'Sullivan, and since then we've seen very little of Chris O'Sullivan in the Warrington cause. He seems to have drifted out of the game a little bit. I just wonder if he's carrying an injury.
I don't think we've been in a position possibly to use Chris in actual fact, Gary, and as we say it, he's got the ball. We've been in our half quite a long time, and of course Chris does his work in the other half.
That's my theory out the window.
Again, we've had to give the ball up on the sixth tackle, which we're not thinking of saying.
Look at that tremendous play by Warrington, barging Rydell York back a good 15 or 20 yards.
I think that's what's called attacking with your defence, Gary. Excellent. We made 10-15 yards from that particular tackle.
Hack ahead by Graham Sullivan, leading try scorer this season for Rydell York. And there's just a little bit of a belief beginning to grow in this stadium that we could be on, who knows, for a cup upset. And now Desi Drummond's in trouble here for Rydell York, or rather for Warrington, the Warrington captain. He seemed to take a knock just a moment before play was stopped, and he seems to be in a great deal of pain. He seems to be writhing on the floor.
It's very unusual for Desi to go down like that, I must admit. I was a bit worried myself from a sort, and obviously he's in quite a lot of pain.
It looks like his left arm, the way he's...
Yeah, he certainly looks around that area of the arm or the shoulder.
Meanwhile, substitution for Rydell York, it looks like Stephen Price, who's coming off the field. And I guess Dean Williams, the man coming on, indeed it is, been playing standoff recently for Rydell York. He can also play in the forwards, to either loose forward or in the second row. And the way I imagine it's going to shape up is that Dean Williams will go straight into the second row and replace Stephen Price. Maybe the fancied Price for just 20 minutes to serve the game before bringing Dean Williams in.
Well, Dean Williams is a good player. He's been at Wakefield. He was at Wakefield and was transferred to Rochdale when Rochdale bought all the players. But he's a useful player to bring into the side.
Desi Drummond just about fit to continue, but he doesn't look in too good a state. Oh, mind, he's getting stuck in now. 12 minutes to half-time, still Rydale York 0, Warrington 0, and Pinckney's on his way before he's stopped by a very solid tackle by Kevin Ellis. Dobson, here's a substitute, Dean Williams. Dobson again, Nick Howe. Nick Howe, the New Zealander, throws it long, finds the captain, number 9, Stuart Wharton. Taken well by Jeff Price. This is good rugby league by Rydale York. They're really enjoying themselves out there.
Another feature of this Steve Dobson's game is every break that's made, he latches onto it. He's an excellent support player.
Williams, just inside the 22, chips ahead, although that should be covered quite easily by Warrington. It is, in fact, Kevin Ellis who picks up and makes good ground, just short of his own try line. Acting half-back is Alan Bateman. He's had a quiet game so far for you, Roy?
Yeah, again, I think it's Tony Farmer the same. We've not seemed to get it out to the centres. Again, we've not been in the position to get it out to the centres. So it just shows you the sort of game that York are playing. And another terrible mistake there. I think the first ball would have been the better one.
And it's Gary Mercer who knocks on inside his own 22.
Possibly the indecision there of Chris O'Sullivan making the pass caused that.
So Steve Dobson with a put in. York win it. They've got 6 tackles inside that Warrington 22. And they're through surely. Oh, Dean Williams just a couple of yards short of the line, and Rydale York are scrabbling for that Warrington try line now. Thunderous tackle in on Mark Laws. That's 2 tackles. Rydale York really need to win something here. Jinking little run by Steve Dobson, who perhaps showed his inexperience there, because he didn't make any ground whatsoever. Throws it long, Nick Howe. Short little ball into the standoff, Nick Render. Meanwhile, Mark Laws receiving some attention as Nick Howe helps it back inside to the hooker, Stuart Horton. Last tackle. Will they go for a drop goal? Will they try their luck? Chipped ahead by the scrum half, Steve Dobson. It goes dead. It's still 0-0.
I think the outside backs of York there could have put a bit more pressure on that kick.
And Paula Clark just giving some attention to Mark Laws. Paula Clark, the physiotherapist here at Rydale York.
I think that came from a very good tackle by Gary Mercer. Nothing untoward in the tackle, it was just a very hard tackle.
I think they slammed shoulders together, didn't they?
That's correct.
Just over half an hour gone of this one. Still 0-0. O'Sullivan chips ahead. And what were you talking about, the quality of the kicking, Roy? That really exemplified that point that you made. O'Sullivan tried to find touch, couldn't do so. And all of a sudden, Graham Sullivan, the fullback of Rydale York, picks the ball up and makes, 30 metres on the way down this right-hand side. Good run by A.D. Smith before he's tackled by his opposite number 4, Tony Thornley. Dobson, the acting halfback. Render.
Tremendous enthusiasm by the York players. 1 minute they're defending on their own line, and next minute they're breaking through the field. Excellent.
If I have one question about Rydale York, it just might be their stamina. And perhaps the last 20 minutes of this game could be the time to tell for the second division side. They're on the last tackle now. He found touch. I don't think he expected to find touch, the loose forward. To nick out. But he did so.
It just went over Billy McGinty's head. Billy thought it was going into touch and straight into touch, and it just bounced on before the line.
And Gary Tees has come on.
Billy McGinty, I think, has gone off.
For Warrington. Billy McGinty, as you correctly spotted, has gone off. And Billy McGinty just looks to be in a little bit of trouble over on the Warrington bench. He has a towel over his head. He may have taken a cut, perhaps, to his face. And instead of going to the Warrington bench, I suspect he's going to go down the tunnel and may need a couple of stitches. No, in fact, he is.
I think he's got a bit of a neck problem there. By the looks of him turning his body there to look back at the game, just seemed to have a neck injury of some sort.
Whilst McGinty was leaving the field, Gary Tees in the action, as we saw there, but also Steve Craven is on for Rydale York, number 15. Watch out for him.
Number 10's gone.
And the man who's gone off is Mark Laws, the man who's receiving some attention from Paula Craven, the physiotherapist of Rydale York. There he is, Steve Craven, a second row forward for the second division side. O'Sullivan. Oh, good pass in here to Tony Thornley. They've left the ball behind though. Last tackle. So what will Warrington fashion here? Forster. Ellis. It's a high hoisted one. Well taken by the fullback Graham Sullivan, one of the youngsters who's made his way through into the first team here at Rydale York, along with the likes of A.D. Smith and Nick Pinkney and Nick Render and Ian Paver and Mark Laws and Stephen Price. It's very much a home-grown team. Maybe it's on one or two occasions they lack the sophistication of their first division opposition, but my goodness, they're giving it their best shot.
Well, it's good for the future, of course, when you get young players, young local players coming through into the side like that, and of course in the second division it'll give them some time to learn. Although after saying that, they could get up into the first division next year, which might be a little bit unfortunate for them.
Dobson, Render, lovely pass, Nick Howe, still manages to get it away. Pinkney, I think he knocked it on. Indeed he did. 4 minutes to half time. Rydale York 0, Warrington 0. What will Brian Johnson, the coach of Warrington, be saying at half time to his team?
Well, I think he'll probably compliment both goalkeepers on that. But no, seriously, I think Brian will obviously tell one to stick to the task as far as the defensive patterns are concerned. We obviously need to start getting the ball wider to the centre. The centre have not been in the game, but then again, the forwards have got to do their job to get into the York half so that we can get the ball out to the centres and the wingers.
Oh, smashing pick-up by Bateman. Ball was behind him. Still managed to reach behind him and keep his momentum of his run going. Ellis. Lyon. Great little run this by Warrington. They're close now to that Rydale York line.
I think those were classic examples of how to run onto a ball by David Lyon and Alan Bateman. They ran into the gap, and it was a flat ball to them, and of course it's quite difficult for the defence to take a man that's running into a gap like that.
That was a mistake.
Look, Steve Dobson took a knock on that in that tackle, maybe on his leg by the looks of things.
Yes, Paul Clark is on again to look at him. It would be a real blow to Rydale York should Steve Dobson, who scored 3 tries for them this season, have to go off. He really has been directing things from midfield for them. He's been kicking superbly. Just on the far touchline, out of your picture. Player ready to rejoin the action, Stephen Price, who's taken a 10-minute break. There he is, number 11, brother of Jeff, first season at the club. And starting in the second row with his brother for the first time this season. And indeed, Steve Dobson is being helped off. Looks like a knee injury or perhaps a thigh injury too. Now, how will Rydale York regroup? It looks like they're switching Dean Williams into the scrum half position. He was on the substitutes. Number 14, he's the man to look out for. Now, can Rydale York hang on towards half-time?
That's unfortunate for York, because as you quite rightly said, Steve Dobson was running the game for York. And his kicking game will be missed quite a lot as well in that.
Maybe they just want to get him off and into the dressing room and see if they can patch him up for the second half. Meanwhile, Warrington press for the first points of the game. Chipped through by Ellis. Ellis looked like he was impeded. Oh, referee Robin Whitfield didn't agree with me. But it looks like a clear case of obstruction there as Ellis chipped forward. What was your reading of that?
Well, it was. Robin Whitfield indicated that Kevin dived. He never even went onto the floor, in fact. Unless he did a backward dive, of course.
Maybe a bit of a let-off for Rydale York, and just casting my mind back over the first half, Roy, there's only been one kickable chance for points in the entire 40 minutes.
That's right, by David Lyon, and unfortunately he just went off target.
Desi Drummond catches the ball and then races forward. Eludes one tackle, that of Steve Craven, but he got him the second time.
Yes, I think Desi came in there just to get some mud on his shirt.
Do they have a shirt count at half-time to see who's got least mud on their shirt?
If there's no mud on his shirt, then you've done nothing.
Paul Cullen tries to duck under a tackle or two. Steve Craven gets him again. We're inside the final minute of the first half. Rydale York 0, Warrington 0 in this first round Challenge Cup game.
Well, that's the first kick, I think, commendable kick that we've got in there, and it's a good position.
So, final chance of the first half perhaps for Warrington to put pressure on the second division side. They've won it though, have Rydale York with Nick Render, their number 6 stand off, and I imagine they'll be just happy to hold it there till the hooter goes. Half time is scoreless, and the only chance for points during the half came from this man's boot. David Lyon missed a penalty attempt midway through the first half, and that means at half time it's Rydale York 0 and Warrington 0. They changed their jerseys at the interval. They'll be playing in the second half in that white shirt with the amber and black V. There's the winger, well, it's the loose forward, Nick out. Warrington too have had a change of jerseys, but they remain in their original colours. Just looking round, there's no sign of Steve Dobson, the scrum half of Rydale York, who had such an impressive first half, but limped off with what appeared to be a knee injury. And it's Sullivan who starts the second half for Warrington. looks like a fist going in from number 9, Dwayne Mann, the hooker of Warrington. I'm sure one or two of the people spotted that too. Captain in possession. There he is, Stuart Horton. And York on their last tackle.
The forward made a mess of that. The number 8 got in the way of the man who was going to do the kick.
Gary T is just forcing his way forward, and now Warrington have 6 tackles inside that Rydale York 22. They should take advantage of it. Ellis tries to force his way by himself. Now, where's Gary Mercer going? Well, the idea is to go towards the Rydale York try line, but he got held up by the tackle of Stuart Horton. O'Sullivan, nice little pass out, straight in down the throat of Neil Harmon. Harmon is held there by Jeff Price. O'Sullivan again. Little grubber kick through. Oh, a mistake right on the line by Graham Sullivan.
Yes, they were looking to get away with that, Gary. But the position that they put themselves in, York, came from the pass out from the action halfback here, where the pot forward was actually in the road when the ball was being passed to the kicker.
And the touch judge is on the field. It's Mal Smith who spotted something and is talking now to Robin Whitfield. And I just wonder if there's a little bit of a problem in the far corner.
I think what they're doing, they're throwing snowballs at the touch judge, Gary.
Also, our cameraman has been the target of the amateur snowball throwers. Let's hope they're going to desist from that, and then the game can go ahead.
Yes, it was quite funny at half-time when they were throwing at each other, but now it gets a bit serious.
Oh, I don't think the York fans will be too happy if they were denied a try, because the touch judge's attention was elsewhere, but it should be on the game. Sullivan. Again, it's the 5th tackle. So Alice chips through into the corner. Race on here. Desi Drummond's after it. Render 2. Render touches down. Good defensive work by the young standoff for Rydale York. Good defensive duties by him. When you've got Desi Drummond breathing down your neck, it's not always easy to do the correct thing and do it effectively, but young Nick Render, who scored in Rydale York's last match against Fulham. The man who's captained the A-team did his job effectively there. Gary Mercer played the strong man, but left the ball behind.
I think we can see a developing pattern, which probably Brian's had a word with the Warrington side at half-time, is to, when you actually get them down on their line, is to put pressure on them with the little kicks to the line, because it is quite slippery, although on the try lines there it's not too bad. But at least we get the ball back in some way or other if we don't score a try from it.
2 points really come to the fore when you consider the second half. First of all, is this pitch going to freeze later on in the afternoon, because it is now turning into a bitterly cold afternoon? And second of all, how much will Rydale York's stamina hold under the pressure of the First Division side? What are those 2 points?
Yes, I think you've got a valid point as far as fitness levels are concerned. Obviously, Second Division rugby is not as quick as First Division rugby, and one wonders whether York can keep this sort of pace up. The pitch, well, quite rightly, as we appreciate up here, Gary, it is getting cold now, and there's quite a bit of water on the pitch. If that turns to ice, then there could be a problem.
Spot the snowman. Well, the outcome of all that is a scrum down put in to Warrington by Kevin Ellis. One day he's playing in the Great Britain Test side, the next is scrabbling for the ball for Warrington. He went into an offside position and he's given young Nick Render a real clout on his thigh. And Nick Render's going to require some attention. Really would be ripping the heart out of the Rydell York team if Render had to leave the field. And remember, Steve Dobson has had to leave the field as well. To take their two young halfbacks out, I think could sink them.
Yes, it is his shoulder. I think it was shoulder to shoulder more than anything. Kevin was offside at the scrum and he went for the ball and they both collided. Render took obviously the worst knock. You're correct. The two halfbacks were doing the job in the first half and they were making a lot of ground, particularly Dobson with his kicks and his dancing little runs.
Render seems to be okay to continue, and here's a purposeful little burst by Dean Williams. He's almost got to the try line in the first half, actually, Dean Williams. Now, drop goal attempts. It's successful! Graham Sullivan with the first point on the board. It might be a slender lead, but who knows how much it's going to count by the end of the 80 minutes. Rydell York ahead, 1-0.
Well, Rydell York made a good position for that kick, Gary, and obviously they deserved the point. They worked for it and got it.
So Sullivan restarts. After this man here is trying to get hold of the ball, Graham Sullivan will drop to goal for his side. But he wishes he counts for 3 points like it does in the Rugby Union Code, but certainly just the one as far as Rydell York are concerned. Maybe it will wake Warrington up a little bit. They're behind now and they can't drift ever closer now to that final hooter, knowing they have a slender deficit.
Yes, and of course the 1 point, Gary, if Rydell York are fortunate to score a try and kick the goal, then that puts it 2 scores that Warrington have to make. So that was an important drop goal.
Nick Howe, lovely little burst by him. That's support from Aki as well. Chipped ahead by Horton. Over the head of Drummond, down the throat of David Lyon. Running very, very squared. A good tackle by Dean Williams. He's proving what a useful acquisition he is for the Rydell York side. Came on originally to play as a forward, but I think he's slipped now into the half-back position. Surely it's a knock-on. Ellis doesn't win it. Now, which original offence is the referee going to give?
Probably Kevin might have been better just covering the ball there instead of trying to retrieve it and run the ball into the field. I think that's what his intention was, but safety first was the thing there, I think.
We've had nearly 10 minutes of the second half. Rydell York 1, Warrington 0. Drop goal by Graham Sullivan, separating the two teams.
Certainly seems to have set them alight, that drop goal. It's put some fire into the bellies. And indeed, I think we've got possession there, Gary.
Great scrabbling by Stephen Price. And now a penalty to Rydell York, because the Warrington man did not release the player, allow him to get up and play the ball. I think that was Phil Sumner who was the guilty party.
Maybe it may have been Dwayne Manning, I think, Gary.
Either way, Graham Sullivan has a chance to give his side a 3-0 advantage. This is a very important kick for Rydell York. The kick midway between the halfway line and the 22. Will make it very interesting indeed should Sullivan's kick can be successful. Rydell York's first kickable penalty of the match. Unsuccessful though.
Yes, that was from the similar position to what David Lyon had in the first half, and there is a slight wind out there, and he's holding that ball in the air and maybe knocking it off course.
Render. Oh, given away there rather disappointingly to Alan Bateman. And young Nick Pinkney, who plays on this left-hand side, well, no, he's given away possession, an important position to Warrington.
You notice, Gary, that wingers seem to have lost the ball quite a lot in this game, and maybe because they're called out on the wing, they're not in the game enough, and it's a bit of a surprise when they do get the ball.
Firmly unable to get the ball wide on the far side. Roy Lester shakes his head in disappointment because there really could be an opening there. Meanwhile, Mark Forster on the far side, just getting his face wiped with a sponge. Looked like he took a knock to his forehead. He's fit to continue. Scrum down. Put into Rydell York. 1-0 ahead, remember. Half-back Dean Williams. Number 14 now on his back. Render.
The longer this game goes on at this score, Gary, the more heart that York get from it. Warrington are not keeping possession with the 6 tackles, and I don't think they played a decent 6 in the last 10 minutes, quarter of an hour.
Very good kick by Graham Sullivan. Maybe with the absence of Steve Dobson and his effectual kicking for Rydell York, Graham Sullivan will come into the picture a little bit more. Sullivan, the leading try scorer for Rydell York this season, the fullback. Also plays in the second row. And probably his best position, I'm sure he would consider, is in the second row. Moved there because of an injury to Hutchinson of Rydell York. That's Paul Hutchinson, who had a training accident this week, fell on the snow and ice, damaged his shoulder.
We'll find, Gary, as I say, the longer this game goes on at this particular score, is that Brian Johnson may look to bring in Martin Crompton on the field, who has this record of sort of scoring tries from nothing in important games. And as I say, it's only a 1-point lead, and if we don't get any more points on the board soon, you may see that.
O'Sullivan gets it wide. Knock on.
Again, there was a ball went out there.
Sullivan's pass.
I mean, we needed to get a man in between, maybe. The gap was there, but we took the wrong option altogether. We passed it to the winger instead of maybe to the centre.
Just having a word with the captain of Rydell York, Stuart Horton. Maybe some of the York tackling a little bit robust. But they've defended well, haven't they? I mean, they've really stopped Warrington in their tracks.
Yes, it's always important in any game, whether it be first division, second division. The defence is always wins your games, and if you've got a good defence, then you've got a good chance.
Once again, they have possession with Render. Price being pulled back towards his own try line, though. Now, if there had been somebody at his shoulder Warrington might have been embarrassed there.
There's a bit of Steve Dobson there, because Dobson did support very well in the first half, and maybe he'd have been onto that ball.
Dean Williams outing half back is Nicow. Nicow gets it back, kicked ahead by Sullivan. Right down the throat of David Lyon, who, well, it isn't David Lyon on the far side. It's Mark Forster. O'Sullivan. Oh, he's away this time, and as he was tackled, released the ball delightfully. And here is Alan Bateman. Bateman tackled by Nick Pinkney, the left winger. Desi Drummond. Mann throws it long, looking for Kevin Ellis, who was hit in rugby league terms what must have been the equivalent of a runaway train. That was a tremendous, all-encompassing tackle by Jeff Price. Now the substitute tees, and Warrington break here. Neil Harmon back to the first tackle, I do believe, because Rydell York hand got to the ball. There could be an opening here. Ellis, great run. O'Sullivan in the corner. Surely Lions over. The first try of the game goes to David Lyon, his 7th of the season. And just when Rydell York seemed to be hanging on, Warrington find a way through down the right-hand side, and the galloping fullback joins the backs and ploughs over in the corner. And David Lyon gives Warrington a 4-1 advantage. But talk us through that try again.
Yes, I think the tackling over on the far side there started all that. There was some good defence, and of course we got the ball back into our own half and made it up the field, and we were fortunate with the Neil Harmon. I think Gary Tees gave it to Neil Harmon, and it touched a York player in between, so went back to the first tackle.
Sullivan was involved as well, and once there was an extra man over on the right-hand side, watched through for David Lyon, galloping through the middle, and it was he who touched down in the corner. So the first try of the game goes Warrington's way, and it's Lyon, the try scorer, who has a chance to improve on that try. And we're right in a line with his kick. And not an easy kick at all. Got hold of it well, wasn't too far away, about 2 or 3 foot out. But more importantly for Warrington, you have a forward advantage, right?
Yes, it's been threatening a few times on the notes, and we just took the wrong option altogether. That particular one, we gave it to the right man. Instead of passing it straight to the winger, the man came in between, and David's very good at that, coming into the line.
In fairness, I think you had a couple of men spare as well.
That's true. There was probably a 3-man overlap there, so it was possibly difficult to pick the right man.
And we've almost reached the midway point of the second half. Rydell York behind for the first time in this game. And I suppose the question is now, can Rydell York hang on to the good work that they've done throughout this Silk Cut Challenge Cup first round game and not fold despite that try? This last quarter is going to be very, very important for the second division side, and important too for Warrington, because I'm sure they want to make the game safe as Paul Cullen picks up, dances round.
There's only 3 points in it, and obviously one try could put York back in front, and of course if they kick the goal, then they've taken the same lead.
Graham Sullivan for Rydell York. Good tackle there by Alan Bateman. Rydell York haven't been past the first round in this competition in 4 seasons. Their best ever Challenge Cup showing was 7 seasons ago, when they lost to Wigan in a semi-final in Leeds. The match, incidentally, I was at, and it was very similar conditions, very, very muddy. What many people considered would level the 2 teams, but it wasn't to be Rydell York's afternoon. I think it was York then, rather than Rydell York. And here they are back in the Challenge Cup, not an advanced stage of the competition. They've had a splendid afternoon, no matter what the score now. Williams chips ahead, picks up, then clouts it forward again. Unconventional football, but effective. O'Sullivan, tackled by Aki.
There's some pressure now been lifted off Warrington to, obviously a topical phrase we took time, we broke the ice as far as getting points on the board, and it does relieve a little bit of pressure because you start to disbelieve that you can make breaks through this very, very solid defence by York. As you can see now, they're driving Warrington back, and it gives heart to the other players when you see that happening.
On the final tackle, Jeff Price claims he won the ball fairly off, I think it's Gary Tees. The referee is not so convinced. Similar sign of Steve Dobson re-entering the fray for Rydell York.
But it's nice and warm in that pack.
Probably the warmest place on the field at the moment. As we enter the last quarter of the game, Warrington with the most slender of leads, just 3 points. It's Rydell York 1, Warrington 4. Man. Neil Harmon forcing his way inside the Rydell York 22. Dwayne Mann, the acting half-back.
I think we'll see a back's ball here, Gary, where quick hands across. Obviously we've got quite a few fast men out there. Again, Alan Bateman running to the line very well, but the gap just closed at that latter point.
Mann again.
I'd like to see a bit more support on that because Dwayne's going on his own risk, but even though he may be trying to make the break on his own, we should get more people to him.
Desi Drummond now goes this way and that, twists inside, changes the focus of the play. Ball hooked forward by Kevin Ellis, but it's gone dead. And I think just at the centre of that last play, Chris O'Sullivan, the standoff of Warrington, tried to drop a goal, just couldn't quite do it. But the intention was quite clear as far as I could make out. He was trying to drop a goal. In the end it came out to this right-hand side where Desi Drummond picked up, but so Simon certainly, midfield, had the attempt.
As we said earlier on, Gary, that 1 point is important because, of course, Warrington are 3 points in front, and if York do score a try, that's 4 points, so that will put them in front. So it makes a difference. The draw would help.
I think Desi Drummond expected to go that one to bounce before it went out of play.
The important thing, of course, on kicks like that is that we don't make a mess up and give actual possession away. It is Warrington's head and ball at this particular time, and wingers are advised, if there's no chance at all, to leave the ball.
Ellis, O'Sullivan again. Gets it wide, good running this. David Lyon joins the backs and is tackled by Graham Sullivan. And all of a sudden, Warrington's class begins to shine through on a very murky afternoon. It's almost as though they're like a faulty engine that's eventually springing into life. Harmon on the halfway line. Picked up well by Bateman. Desi Drummond tries to sprint down this right-hand side. Meandering run by Desi Drummond, helps it back inside. Great rugby league. And Kevin Ellis is very close to that Rydell York line, number 7. They haven't finished yet. O'Sullivan gets it wide. There's surely an extra man here. Ryan, is he over?
No, it's not.
On his back, I believe, or...
Well, that was a try-saving tackle. David actually had his back to the line then, and couldn't get the ball down. He had to touch the corner flag.
So maybe a let off for Rydale York. Certainly Warrington are playing better in this last 10 or 15 minutes, aren't they?
Yes, you were right what you said in the first time. Maybe the pace is telling a little bit with York. We're getting the ball out wider now, and of course they're not getting men across the cover, although in that particular instance they did do.
And let's remember that Steve Dobson, our scrum half, who had a splendid first half, is off the field for Rydale York, and the number 6 who holds his side very painfully there, Nick Render, has really drifted out of the game as that injury has told its effect on him. And really, without that half-back partnership for Rydale York firing on all cylinders, they've looked quite a different side, you have to say. Having said that, they've played splendidly and defended splendidly too, but Warrington's class now is beginning to show.
I'm a little disappointed in the loose forward for York. He tends to offload the ball too much instead of running himself. Every single time he gets it, he offloads the ball.
Bateman just couldn't release it before support was on its way. He wasn't getting a forward pass, isn't he?
No, I think it was a lack of experience from Alan Bateman. Alan was tackled and he handed the ball to Chris O'Sullivan after being tackled. Silly mistake by Alan there. And look where York are now, just on the 22-metre line.
Nearly half an hour gone of the second half, just over 10 minutes to go then. York just 4-1 behind. And it's Price who's tackled very convincingly indeed. I think it's Jeff is the man who's in possession. Indeed it is.
Gary Mercer's made some tremendous tackles today, and all been very, very effective.
Dean Williams now.
And 11 run, Jeff Price incidentally.
Render cuts it back to this left-hand side. Nicow off to Sullivan. Sullivan and Thornley grapples with him before tugging him to the ground. Nicow again offloads the ball a little bit too early, and Warrington will have possession. And maybe the threat is just passed from Rydale York. Who knows?
Well, it's not over yet, Gary, because they're tackling very well, and obviously they're still on the good chance of a win. 3 points is nothing. That's good running by Neil Harmon. He's been unlucky not to get a chance in the international side, although he did get in the squad this weekend. But that's what you want forwards to run like that.
Well, you were talking about the loose forward for Rydale York and the fact that he hasn't had a particularly good game. Might prove you're wrong here, as he pinched the ball out of nothing there. Great little burst by the centre. I think it's A.D. Smith. And Rydale York still have possession. It's Steve Craven in possession. Inside that 22 now. What can Rydale York fashion out of this? Paver. He's held by 2 strong Warrington tackles, including one from Gary Mercer. Jeff Price. About 15 yards from the Warrington line. I wonder which way Rydale York will switch play. They face it right. Dean Williams. Last tackle. They're getting closer and closer. Nicow. Oh, cuts it back inside. There could be a breakaway for Warrington. Nicow tried to go over the tackle, then release the ball, and there's nobody to his right-hand side. Disappointment there for Rydale York, because at that one stage looked like scoring. What's to be?
I think we're a bit unfortunate there. I can't blame Nicow for that, because there was a chance on it. It was the last tackle. Unfortunately, it went behind the man instead of in front of him.
10 minutes to go of this Challenge Cup first round game, and still Rydale York trail Warrington by 4 points to 1. The referee indicates a forward pass, and I think some back chat there from Gary Tees, and who knows if this is in kicking position. It isn't, because Graham Sullivan was well aware of the possibilities, and he's inside that Warrington 22 now. Good play by the fullback of Rydale York. Took the kick quickly himself and set up a platform for a Rydale York attack. Dean Williams.
Well, this guy Williams had a good game. He's made some telling tackles in the second half, and has obviously been there on every break. And as you said quite rightly earlier on, he's been very close to scoring a couple of times.
Sloppy pass, very sloppy.
Spoke too soon.
If you were watching from the Rydale York bench, what would you be saying to your side, or shouting from the side?
Well, probably not having a heart attack at this particular time. But no, I think we've got to stick to the job. As I say, there's only 3 points in it, and we've done commendably well up to now, so I don't think we can do any more. They're playing very well, they're tackling well, they're making ground up the field, they've got a good kicking game. Even though the Dobson lads got off the field, they've done very well.
And Warrington, in their 10th cup tie of the season so far, lead by 4 points to 1. Already won the Regal Trophy, remember, Warrington. They've already got some silverware in their trophy cabinet, but how they would love to get their hands on the Challenge Cup after being so disappointed at Wembley last season when they were beaten by Wigan in the final. There's David Lyon, who's scored the only try of the game so far. He finds Forster. Good run by Mark Forster. Remember, his try against Oldham in last season's semi-final took Warrington to Wembley.
Yes, Mark Forster's in such a player that can run the full length of the pitch, and has done on a few occasions this season as well as last season.
Sullivan chips ahead, doesn't quite come off, the ball is loose, and it's claimed by Rydale York.
I did say earlier on, Gary, that maybe Martin Crompton might be brought into the game, and he is warming up at this particular time. Although that doesn't mean a lot, it could be a possibility he might come on for the last 10 minutes.
Kick ahead is by Stuart Horton. Desi Drummond picks up.
Fortunate there, Des. He left the ball, it bounced and hit his hand, and the event of course on the rebound could have been a knock-on, but it would have been a knock-on. The loose forwards get the man of the match.
That's right. Tuara Nikar, the number 13 for Rydale York. despite what Roy Lester says, has been awarded the man of the match.
You should never listen to my judgment anyway, Gary.
There he is, the man of the match. I'm sure had Steve Dobson, the scrum half, stayed on the field for Rydal York, he would have gained that award. I have to say that the man of the match award inevitably is made by the home club, and it is for the home team, so really it isn't a matter of he is the man of the match, he's the York man of the match, I should say. Ball had gone backwards, that's why there was no knock on, and it's the fullback Graham Sullivan who has possession. We have 5.5 minutes left of this cup tie, and still Rydal York trail by 4 points to 1 to last season's beaten finalist Warrington, and the Primrose and Blue, who are defending at the moment. Okay, held back inside, Price has lost it, chipped ahead, Dwayne Mann, race for the line here, Dwayne Mann's going to get there. Oh, what an unfortunate error. Dwayne Mann was alert to the mistake. Chipped ahead, and who knows, Dwayne Mann could have done enough to put Warrington into the second round of this season's Challenge Cup.
I think the referee was asking the touch judge there, Gary, about whether Dwayne actually hit his hands and went to the floor, and the touch judge did say that it hit Dwayne's legs. So unfortunate for York in that particular occasion. It's amazing how second division teams seem to put a good performance on for so long, and then things like that can happen, and it's very disheartening for them after playing so well.
It was an unfortunate error, but look how quick Dwayne Mann was alert to the possibilities, shipped ahead, raced onto that bouncing ball, picked it up, and over in the corner gave Warrington an 8 points to 1 advantage. And now David Lyon, who scored the first try of the game, has a chance to increase that to 10 points to 1.
Yes, I'm sure Brian Johnson's heart's ticking a lot slower now than it was maybe 5 or 10 minutes ago.
So I think that's the third kick of the afternoon that David Lyon has missed, and there's a man who scored his fourth try of the season, Dwayne Mann. Warrington crowd looking a lot happier than they, I'm sure, did about 10 or 15 minutes ago. One or two smiles there on their faces. Meanwhile, it's a very different story for the Rydal York fans. They are going home, they've seen enough. Their side has gone out to the first division opposition, and it surely now is a mere formality with less than 2 minutes to go to the final hooter.
That is a magical figure when you see that, when there's 7 points in between. It does make a lot of difference. It takes a lot of pressure off you. It's been unfortunate for York. They've played tremendously well, and must take heart from this game and take it into the second division with them.
We enter the final minutes of normal time as Sullivan kicks ahead. Sullivan picks up. That's the Rydal York Sullivan, rather than the Chris O'Sullivan of Warrington. Your thoughts on the game then, Roy?
Well, it's not surprised me at all, Gary. The York people have put up a tremendous performance. I did say at the beginning of the game it was their Wembley. They've had a good crowd here today on a messy pitch. A nice ground but a messy pitch, and they've done a good job. They've been unfortunate, but I think, as you said earlier on, the pace has told them a little bit in the second half, and Warrington have took the chances, missed some incidentally, but Warrington have took the chances and been fortunate to get the points on the board.
And it looks like Keighley now, next week, away from home, another second division side.
Yes, some of the graveyard for maybe teams that think they can go there and just go out on the field and win. it's difficult when you go to these places because you say the crowd are obviously very partisan and they get behind the team, and they're very small grounds, so they're close to the play, and it puts a lot of pressure on the team that's supposed to win.
Well, Lester, the assistant coach of Warrington Rugby League Club, has been my summaриser today. And we're now playing stoppage time right at the end of this game, with Warrington leading by 8 points to 1 and only seconds away from a place in the second round of the competition. Warrington with 2 tries in the game from David Lyon, the first, and then Dwayne Mann, and it's enough to see them through. Splendid performance by Rydale York. They held Warrington for the best part of an hour. They even had the cheek to put a point on the board with a drop goal from Graham Sullivan, but they couldn't last out, and perhaps